a coworker, a friend, a shoulder to lean on. Who is that person for you? For Denise Newcomer, that person is Sarah Sham.
Sarah and I have been friends for 16 years. We've been at each other's weddings. We've been there for the birth of each other's children. When I needed to have a facilitator, when it came to that time that the work was too much and I needed to get a partner, she was the first one I thought of. Sarah and I joke constantly that we are like sisters.
Denise is a very loving person. We've gone through a lot together over the course of knowing each other for 16 years. She is very passionate in what she does, whether it be at work or at home.
Raising a family in Dallastown, Denise cherishes the special moments of being a mom and a wife. In June 2008, she married her husband, Ken.
Well, my husband is a super friendly, caring person. We have a daughter who's 20, and her name's Justine, and we have a 4-year-old son named Edison. We spend a lot of time in amusement parks and traveling. Every few years, my husband and I like to take a trip to KBIS, and KBIS is the National Kitchen and Bath Association. It's their trade show. It was in Orlando. Not long after arriving, I wasn't feeling so good, and I ended up going to a clinic when we were at the park. It turned out I had a kidney stone. Because it was my first kidney stone I ever had, they did a very broad CT scan. Which was completely out of the norm, but they found a mass in my breast that the ER doctor had pulled me aside and said that I would probably want to go and schedule a mammogram and get it checked out.
Now, imagine being in what many consider the happiest place on earth and being given the most devastating news of your life.
It was definitely a little nerve-wracking to learn about it while I was on vacation. I was by myself when I went to the hospital because I would not let my husband leave. And the kids, it was their Christmas gift, so we wanted them to enjoy the park. I had taken an Uber back to the hotel and called my mom, and it was one of those things that I kind of knew. So I just sort of, let's pretend it didn't happen and pretend I didn't know, and I will deal with it later. My mother and my grandmother are breast cancer survivors. It was definitely significantly younger than both of them. They were both 65 when they were diagnosed. So I was hoping to not have to go through this, especially at this age. We did a diagnostic mammogram and they found it immediately. They already knew what they were looking for.
Invasive ductal carcinoma. It's one of the more common forms of breast cancer. Denise's diagnosis was ER and PR triple positive. Not long after Denise was told she was diagnosed with the HER2 strand, which means her cells would grow and divide uncontrollably. About 1 of 5 breast cancers are HER2 positive.
When I first heard that she was diagnosed, I was scared. She had a lot of stuff going on. She had a little kid at home. To know that she was going to have to do this and still have a job and have to take care of her kid and things like that, I knew that there was no option. There was no questioning. You have to step up and be that friend that they need and that shoulder to cry on, or that person to just make them feel normal during such a really just horrible time. The toughest part was trying to balance the difference between my working relationship with her and my friendship relationship with her. It's kind of difficult when you're working here and you walk in the door and she's not here. And you're like, oh, okay? Like, it's gonna be a bad day.
Nothing about chemo is easy, and I would get upset because I didn't think I handled it very well and I wasn't very good at it. One of the side effects of losing your hair is it's incredibly painful. My scalp would just, it was on fire, it hurt. The one evening, it was late at night, and one of our other salesmen here, Larry, he had been through chemo just the year before, and I was calling him, and how do you get the pain in your head to stop? He had said, just take a shower. That was the best thing that helped him, just the hot water. So it was nice to have him to reach out to. Mike and Tim had known all the way from the beginning, and both of them had expressed that this was super important, and anything I needed to do, if I couldn't be at work, if I needed to leave early for a doctor's appointment, that it was okay. They just wanted me to take care of me, and if I was healthy enough to come in, then I came in, and if I wasn't, they gave me the time to take care of myself.
They were very, very flexible with us, allowing us to communicate freely, to talk about stuff, letting me just being able to call her and say, hey, I got a question about this, or I got a question about that. And her sitting there getting her treatments and just being able to talk to me, and Lezzer backing that up. And then also, you know, allowing me to be able to move my hours around and make things a little bit more flexible for me as well, so that I could, you know, keep things running on this end of the business.
Every doctor that I saw all told me that it truly was a blessing in disguise to have the kidney stone. If it hadn't been found, this is the hardest part. If it hadn't been found, they actually had given me about 6 months till they anticipated it spreading. And the hardest part was when they gave me a life expectancy of 3 to 5 years, and having a 4-year-old, and at the time my son was 2, thinking that he would be 7 and not have a mom if I wouldn't have gotten a kidney stone in Florida. The scariest thing is just facing your own mortality, especially having children, and the fact that my son was so young.
And for the next 6 months, Denise was in and out, facing grueling sessions of chemo, fighting and clawing through each hour until the doctors delivered the most encouraging news. Denise was cancer-free.
It was just that relief, like after that fact, after the chemo, and then she had her scan again, and they said, it's gone. Like, and she told me that, and I was like, what do you mean it's just gone? It doesn't disappear, it just left, like that. And I'll remember that moment, that when she said that, I was amazed by what her body, and me personally, what her will was able to do, to just, through the help of medicine, just make it disappear.